Good evening, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. Thank you so much for joining me. Happy Wednesday evening. Thank you for waiting. Sorry for delays, a turbulent day, and just trying to get all the news that I delivered to you. So, if it's your first time joining, I'm presenting actual news and we discuss it together. So, please don't hesitate to add your comment or ask questions or even answer my questions. And if anything that I say contradicts whatever you know, please let me know. Cite a source. I gladly stay corrected. Okay. So for today, we're going to talk about President Biden. He welcomed creators to the White House today, and there he also spoke about media. And if you had tuned in yesterday or pretty much any time, I constantly talk about mainstream media and all the issues that organism, if you say so, or the fourth column, whatever you refer it to as to, what problems it represents, right? When it comes to truth, when it comes to valuable actual information and news. And so, yes, he made a couple of jokes, but if we really read between the lines, President has voiced his opinion way more than we paid for. So let's review all that. Hi, Brandon. Hello. Oh, I like the pinky thing. Never seen that one. Thank you for joining. Now, first, let's talk about again at the White House. The creators, I think around 100 content creators were welcome to the White House. They spent a day talking about different issues, talking about the economy, talking about the direction that the creative or social media business is taking us to, and how it can be beneficial to work with the White House and vice versa. You have asked when I posted about it, you've asked, like, were there any prominent people from Twitter? I haven't really seen. I'd rather saw people from Instagram and TikTok, not necessarily political commentators, but more people who just are very successful in what they do in terms of online and social media, world. But here's a readout. As President entered the Indian Treaty Room in the White House complex to address about 100 digital creators, he first paused to take a selfie with the crowd. We know our president, he does it. Then he started by talking about how his grandchildren were not consuming the news by reading newspapers or watching television anymore. So he gets his insights from his family. And as we know, President Biden, family is everything, right? So he said, quote, "The fact is, you are the future," he said. "You're the source of the news," end quote. Then he talked about how more people wanted to go into creator business these days. Then he said, "What do you think when I retire? What do you think?" He said, laughing. "I got contacts, man." Then Biden talked how his staff had informed him that creator economy was now worth $250 billion dollars, and how it is expected to double in the next few years. And then he said, "I'd like to talk about borrowing some money from you all." And then the creators also exchanged some ideas, what could be consequential. Then he said, "You all understand that you have an obligation to report what you think is true and say what you think is true," he said. "We've kind of divided into our competing camps. Now I know I only look like I'm 40, but I've been around a long time. And it's never been like this. I mean, the way we treat each other in politics." Then he goes, "I think you're going to change the entire dynamic of the way in which we communicate. And that's why I invited you to the White House, because I'm looking for a job." Well, that was the joke. And by the way, that is what mainstream media picked up. Because if you've seen any coverage, on television or in articles, "Oh, he asked creators for a job. Haha, that was the main thing." Not really. So by the end of his talking and discussing the issues and whatnot, there was a bit of an interaction between the press pool. And if you know me and I know you, we all love that press pool, right? Which I'm a part of. Anyway, the press pool was there in the back of the room. So just imagine it's the Indian Treaty Room, White House, beautiful, all of it, right? Historic. Here's President Biden. Then in front of him are all the creators seated. And in the back is press pool. So President Biden said, well, to creators, now ask me some questions, right? And they, they're not necessarily cover politics, so they took their time. Press pool started screaming, asking president to comment on Maduro in Venezuela, which is like has absolutely nothing to do with this. And he shut down the press pool. I have a video. I want you to watch it. Take a look.
Any of the non-press, you're the non-press, want to ask me a question, you can answer. I may not answer it. I'd like to stay on topic. I don't want to get into talking about what's going on in foreign policy and the like right now, but if anyone asks what I've said, I'm happy to try to respond. I'm not talking to you guys. Yes. Yes. Shh. I'm not going to answer your question. I'm talking to them first, okay? The audience first, okay? Yes, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you, President. Thank you, President. Thank you,
The U.S. beat inflation, Mr. President.
Yes. I told you we're going to have a soft landing. We're going to have a soft landing. My policies are working. Start writing that way, okay?
And Mr. President,
anyway, thank you.
Thank you so much. We got to move this way, Gabe.
Mr. President, did you know your son reached out to a U.S. ambassador?
And he escorted the press pool out. And here's why I want you to join our town hall on Friday. Because when we talk about the upcoming interviews, when we're talking about talking to President Biden and the administration, we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it. So join me on Friday. I don't want to spread the message now. But they know what's going on. They know who is different. Today I was blocked by Washington Post and all the reporters. You don't like what I say? Listen. What did I say about Washington Post? That all of you are full of garbage, right? And you're feeding people garbage information. Well, I'm sorry that you didn't like that message. And you call me thin-skinned, So Biden's know, Kamala Harris and Doug Emhoff know. They know what is going on with mainstream media. They also know what's going on with creators. Unfortunately, I also have to say, when it comes to creators, a lot of them, if you don't cover politics, if you're not really into history or, just current news, you're at the White House and you feel like, I want to just snap selfies, right? So there were so many who would just turn around, leave Biden in the background and be like, oh, I'm here in the White House, selfie, right? Or make him dance and do some stuff, which is this is influencers, right? What we know influencers to be. But there are a lot of people, Gen Z and older. I'm certainly not Gen Z. By the way, did you know I'm the same age as this Ducey guy? Oh my God, I looked it up. It's like, oh my God. He's younger than me for 3-4 months. Anyway, but they are all working on the agenda, right? And Biden knows this. And so he certainly is thinking about it. And that's where you come in. That's where we all come in. So Friday, please join, and we're going to talk more in detail, and I'll share plans and our agenda. So it's too early to spread it out, okay? But that was just so remarkable, right? Where he said, listen, about the economy, my economy is doing well, start writing about it. And then the media was escorted, and then influencers could ask questions and record videos, and he stayed there for such a long time, filming selfies with everybody, taking pictures or selfie videos, right? TikToks, shorts, Instagram reels. He was there for the people, which leads me to my rant from yesterday where Kamala Harris is also with the people. And media is going, exploding. How dare her not to sit down with us, not to grant us an interview, not to do this, not to do that. You are old news. Your broken news got old. And people understood. And what you did damage. And people also understood that. And ain't nobody got time for this. because there is an alternative. Now, not all alternatives are great, but there would be, people who can certainly draw attention in a good way. I like that he tried to make them stay on topic. Exactly. That was, call it Dark Brandon or whatever, but that was, he put people into spot. I love it. They're pushing and pushing like children. Indeed. And it's like all this screaming. It's like, why are you screaming? Good on Biden. Yeah, we had a boundary. Yep. How did they block you on Twitter? Yeah, pity. Indeed. Biden needs to hit the press back like they're on regular basis. Indeed, the change is needed. We all know it. This whole screaming is all of this. It's not going to happen. Now, if Trump were to be elected, then it would be different, because you see now what media is doing, and that referring to that interview or the snippet that I shared, the story Caitlin Collins on Stephen Colbert. It was not about Caitlin Collins. It was not about Stephen Colbert. It was not even about CNN. It was more about how the general scope is in the mainstream media to audition for Daddy Please Like Me scenario in case Trump is selected or elected, whatever. He's there, so he lets you into your briefing and press and whatnot. Now, guess who didn't get the invite to Trump's press conference tomorrow? Everybody got. I didn't. I followed up, and then I didn't get the answer. I'm not planning to go to Bedminster and do all this game. But they know I would be asking questions. They know I wouldn't be in the butt-licking business. So I didn't get my invite. Obviously, I found an invite and information and, links to get accredited, but I'm not even trying to get accredited for this because they're not going to accredit me. They know what I'm doing. So, which is good, which is fine. Unsurprised. For me too. We just have to do our work. In terms of my work is to present actual news. Your work to be selective in terms of information, and of course voting in November. So everybody can do their part and bring us forward when it comes to information, when it comes to media business, because it changes. Landscape is changing, right? And so we're going to also talk about different pools. And I saw that your son is joining. Wait a second. JT Savoy said, hey, Olga, hey, my son and I are watching. Hey, hello. I'm explaining different press pools. Here's the great report. Thank you. And please let your son join also on Friday. I explain any reports. I just don't want to, spend a lot of time talking about things that perhaps others are not interested in. But certainly, we're going to talk about press, like White House press correspondence, not the dinner, but the association, which is one thing. But we'll talk about it. Another press conference, so another hour of rambling. Yeah, so tomorrow he's doing at 4:30 a press conference in Bedminster, New Jersey. Today was a rally, allegedly about the economy, but I haven't heard anything aside from shitting on our current economy for no reason. So I have some clips, so we're going to talk about it. But what I'm just unsurprised, to your point, Lisa, but they see what we're doing, and I'm saying we, because me alone posting and nobody seeing it, we wouldn't be, I wouldn't get anywhere, right, without you guys. You're commenting, you're liking, you're sharing your voice, you're adding your voice to conversation. People are paying attention, they're seeing it, and then they're scared and they don't like it. Well, we're doing the right thing, which is, the main thing. Now, of course, in this case, CBS was very upset about Biden's notion, where he said, by the end of the meeting, because here in press poll report, they said Biden said that he was not going to answer our questions, and then press poll was escorted briefly and harshly and all that kind of stuff. So he also said to content creators that people trust you. That ticked the entire mainstream media off. Take a look at this question that was then asked in the press briefing to Karine Jean-Pierre, the White House press secretary. Take a look.
Just now, the president, in contrasting content creators with the press, He said, the biggest thing you've got going for you, and I hope you keep it, is you're trusted, and it makes a difference. Does the president believe everything influencers and content creators post is accurate and nonpartisan?
I mean, look, I don't have the full context. didn't see the back and forth of what exactly the president was saying there. I think what he is saying, they are influencers, right? And I would say, even as you all, right? You all are important, critically important, providing information to the American people. And we certainly respect the platforms that creators have and the platforms you all have.
Which obviously, now we're comparing platforms. And by the way, listen, this week we got what I think like about 31 million people watching, viewing, whatever on Honest Press on X or Twitter. Now think about it. When it comes to Oscars, right? Oscars is the biggest event of the year on television, aside from, of course, Super Bowl. Oscars is watched by 6 million people. If you think about influencers, how many have that following that they achieve it in an hour if it's a special event? I myself did a fundraiser with absolutely no advertising during Black Lives Matter, getting money for NAACP. Another time also for Stop Asian Hate, also fundraiser. And 1.6 million people tuned in with no advertising. So let's not compare. Bunch of you have unsubscribed from Washington Post, from New York Times. So I would love to see their statistics, because I know, for instance, there's people who are reporting on State Department, on White House, and they are from different countries, let's say Africa, different type of. And then I do my research and they have like 500 watchers or viewers or subscribers, which is like, okay, I mean, you can't compare it to an influencer. So certainly, we have to talk about it. Worth talking about it, especially since media is not playing by, or traditional media is not playing by the rules as to, okay, we need 3 sources to confirm something before we do, right? So if you remove those standards, then, well, others are removing the standards of expectations. Then yes, then now we start comparing influencers and media, because the media removed the standards, the level of quality, But since Washington Post got pity, can you judge the White House or President Biden or anybody when he says you're trusted to social media instead of press pool? Here's somebody from a press pool, right from Washington Post. Taylor Lawrence of Washington Post snapped a selfie at the exactly same event. You see Biden in the background, where she called him war criminal. Is that the standard we're aspiring to? Is that the Washington Post standard? Please let me know. Can you judge then people for not trusting you? How? Well, the media didn't used to be this bad until Trump came on the scene. Indeed, I agree. Mainstream media has lost our trust. I stopped WAPO. New York Times this month, 10 years too late. And then I found, thank you. And that's why they keep blocking, because they understand. They see the messages. They see them, you tagging them and talking about it. She's a hack, very unprofessional. Indeed, like you're representing Washington Post and you're telling that this is a war criminal just because you're, want to scream Palestine, free from the river to the sea. Meanwhile, you have no idea what river and what sea you're referring to and what's in between. Because that's the dumbest saying ever. From the river to the sea. That means you never open the damn map. Indeed. Okay. We must go in and ratio. Well, let's not, let them. Like Kamala Harris says, let people figure it out. Courts, whatever, let them. Let's fight for what's worth fighting and pick our fights. Now, doozy. Right? I recall this at some point, I'm going to show you a clip that what he asked today, and Karine did a fantastic job just brushing him off. But at some point when we talked about, I think it was about the tests for cognitive test for President Biden. He was running at that time. He was running for president, which is a few months ago. And Ducey started a question with, well, I only played a doctor in a TV series, but even I understand that we need a test for cognitive decline. And I'm like, you're so proud you played a doctor, so you're bringing it up in the, you know. Anyway, today he asked about Kamala Harris distancing herself from Bidenomics. Why? I don't know. Take a look.
When did you guys learn that Vice President Harris wants to distance herself from Bidenomics?
Why do you think that?
Axios is now reporting that she is hoping to distance herself from President Biden's unpopularity on the economy. Can you blame her?
Do you know this is the Biden-Harris administration? Are you aware that this is the Biden-Harris administration? And she is indeed the vice president.
But if the president's policies on the economy were working, or if they were popular, wouldn't he still be the candidate?
You literally just had the chair of the CEA here who laid out a pretty robust point by point about the economy and what has happened under the Biden-Harris administration. And I thought it was pretty convincing. Look, as far as anything that the vice president wants to do, or as she's talking about her policy that's campaign related, you would have to speak to her.
Shut down. Good. And this, like, questions about transitioning, asking if the government administration is transitioning to whom. We didn't have an election yet. What are we transitioning to? Asking about somebody distancing themselves from current policies. If you're part of this administration, you're running as a successor. Like, what are we even talking about? This makes absolutely no sense. And I'm not even being personal. She's the VP. Yeah. That was good. And if you go, by the way, to Ducey's profile, he's like, I just had a daughter. She's so beautiful. She's newborn. And I asked President Biden what to do with her and, any suggestions. And then he said to hold her tight. And I'm sure I'm going to do it. That's a pinned post on his Instagram or on his Twitter, which is like, so you're human. You're nice. So are you playing a role? Is that an agenda thing? So everybody is human. Ultimately, everybody is human. But, we have to be demanding of people to call up that humanity and let it show up. But let's talk about the economy. He started talking about economy. So today, Karina was joined by the chair of the Council of Economic Advisors, Jared Bernstein, who shared more information on the economy. So this video is about 2.5 minutes. Let me quickly pull it up, and then we take a look at it together. And meanwhile, if you have any questions, let me know. I answer them. This one is just a bit longer, so it doesn't upload to the system. And I present it to you here. Here we go.
July that came in right at expectations at 0.2% for both headline and core. And by the way, if you want to get nerdy with me, which I'm sure you do, those were soft, we call those soft 0.2s, meaning 0.15 and 0.17 respectively. So they round up to 2. But that's sometimes we call that a soft 0.2. Second, we have, for the first time in over 3 years, a 2 handle, as we call it, on yearly inflation, which is up 2.9% over the past year. We haven't seen a rate that low since March of 2021, and that's slightly below what was expected. And third, I think there are 2 important messages from today's CPI report. First, we're moving in the right direction on inflation and doing so with some momentum. I say that because when we look at some of the more near-term indicators of inflation's growth rate, we see a 6-month annualized rate of 2.5% and a 3-month annualized rate of 0.4%. So those more near-term rates give us a better sense of where inflation is headed. The second message from today's report is that while the trend is our friend, our work is far from done. Our cost-cutting agenda on behalf of American households is as urgent and important as ever. We will continue to aggressively push to lower the cost of prescription drugs and health coverage, housing, childcare, energy. I'd note that the price of gas at the pump is down 2.2% over the past year. That's in this morning's report. Junk fees, groceries, and any other areas where we can help family budgets. Finally, we take great care at CEA to look at what these inflation reports mean for workers' paychecks. In July, nominal wages went up 3.8% for lower and middle wage workers. And as I've said, inflation rose 2.9%. That's the 17th month in a row, that wages beat prices for this group, which is 80% of employment. This is important for both the buying power of working families as well as the overall economy. Consumer spending is just under 70% of GDP, and it continues to help generate steady growth, as shown in this slide, which I don't have because we weren't able to do slides. But I will put this on the CEA blog later, on my Twitter account, EconJared46.
Let's follow him on Twitter. This guy is so cute. He's like, I'm gonna put it on Twitter. You don't have slides, and he kept complaining about slides. I don't have slides. I want to pull up slides. Policy nerds, as you said, are cute, very cute. So let's give him a follow, please. Jared Bernstein. He's amazing. Please follow him on Twitter and check out his slides. He put them up for us on Twitter. Can you post this economic report video? Very good data. Yes, I will. I just cut it out. Quick readout. Also, that video is in the email that you're going to get tonight. And the email is ready. So no more 3 a.m. I'm on time. Okay. Statement from President Joe Biden on July Consumer Price Index, right? That's the CPI he was referring to. Today's report shows that we continue to make progress fighting inflation and lowering costs for American households. Inflation has fallen below 3%, and core inflation has fallen to the lowest level since April 2021. We have more work to do to lower costs for hardworking Americans, but we are making real progress, with wages rising faster than prices for 17 months in a row. Prices are still too high. Large corporations are sitting on record profits and not doing enough to lower prices. That's why we're taking on Big Pharma to lower prescription drug prices. We're cutting the red tape to build more homes while taking on corporate landlords that unfairly increase rent. And we're taking on price gouging and junk fees to lower everyday costs from groceries to air travel. Congressional Republicans would raise prices for middle-class families while cutting taxes for billionaires and big corporations. While they try to take us back, we will fight for the future. So again, everything is in the email, and the video is there too, but I will certainly post it on Twitter so you can share it. But certainly that is the news, not the upcoming conference tomorrow at the private golf club that will be unchecked and more blah, 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 right? That is the big news today. As much as tomorrow we're still expecting both Israel and Hamas to show up in Doha and talk about peace and close the peace deal. That is the biggest news for tomorrow, not the unchecked conference at a private golf club. Let's keep the hat on a swivel. So another readout statement from President Biden on a record 19 million new business applications. So as of today, entrepreneurs across the country have filed 19 million new business applications since Vice President Harris and I took office. I really love how Biden is now putting her first, right, in all the statements. So it's like a together thing. So nobody follows up like, did she know about it? Well, yes, she did. That's 19 million acts of hope and confidence in our economy. A record number of those businesses are being opened by Black, Latino, and women entrepreneurs, and it's no accident. Our administration supported small businesses when hundreds of thousands were at risk of closing during the pandemic, and continues to invest in underserved businesses. More than double increase in number of loans to Black, Latino, and women-owned small businesses, while we fight to support entrepreneurs and build up the middle class. Congressional Republicans are threatening small businesses with cuts to Small Business Administration, and by putting big corporations first to cut their tax and protect their loopholes. So again, more details will be in the email so you can learn more about it. But when it comes to our town hall on Friday, we're also going to talk about Onest Network working with small businesses, specifically those that are run by minorities. I also checked with administration about it. So certainly the network needs budget, but I'm very selective with that. So we're going to talk about it on Friday as well. And I'll share some stories with my interaction with big corporation sponsors and why I don't like them. So let's talk about it. Sure, hope so. Hamas. Yeah. Hopefully Hamas agrees to show up. Well, posturing is fine. They're saying, well, we're not with this, with that, but that's what usually happens. Before any big negotiation, I worked at the UN, at the Security Council as a diplomat. You expect that stuff to go because that's just, keeps other side on tippy toes and sort of gives you more power in their eyes, right? Because everybody is awaiting. So who's going to fly tomorrow is the director, the CIA director is going to go to Doha and our representative. So Biden certainly will participate, but not physically there. So let's see what will happen tomorrow, which I guess will be at night because they're ahead of us. So quickly about a Harris Walz campaign update. Today, you probably saw they launched the biggest ad, paid advertising, which is again, I'm like, okay, so you launched advertising for $90 million, which goes where? NBC, ABC, and all that. So, Team Harris Walz launches additional $90 million paid media buy for remainder of August. A historic sum over a short period of time and a testament to the campaign's relentless effort to reach the voters who will decide the election. So it will focus on four main areas for undecided voters. First is Vice President Harris' personal story and background, then her lifelong commitment to fighting for people and standing up to powerful interests, her long-standing focus on the everyday needs of Americans, and the stark contrast between her record and Donald Trump's dangerous extreme agenda. So they will be running that in all those markets that like Marquette, Alpena, Toledo, where Trump campaign is seeding the airwaves as their candidate spends. There's a crucial stretch consumed by personal grievance and his latest conspiracy theories instead of communicating with voters who will decide the election. So then they mentioned where it will run. So it's late night shows, Simpsons, all those sort of trendy programming that is more family oriented. So that's where the advertising will be right next to it. So it is actually amazing that we came out of a global pandemic near full economic shutdown and made a comeback with no recession. Indeed. And that is where Biden came in. Because imagine if Trump would have stayed for another 4 years. Because that's what people don't understand. People blame the president for, gas prices or inflation. Meanwhile, no, it does not depend on that. People don't understand even the most simplistic thing is supply and demand, right? And why during COVID, the prices went down and why did they go up, right? Also people filing for unemployment during COVID and then coming back, right? And so many people, let's say New York, where they openly stated, my unemployment is more than what I make normally, so I will not return to work. And this is if it's not just one person, but entire section, right, or segment is doing that. Certainly that shows up later on your sheets, right, or your debit credit. If Trump had stayed, the economy still would not be recovered. Indeed. And I think we all would still not be recovered. By the way, at the White House, they asked about the monkeypox, and Karine said she has not heard any report on that, but certainly there is the pandemic segment at the White House that tracks it. So she will give us a statement tomorrow about it. The administration needs to do a better job explaining all that to American people. Indeed, Brian, I totally agree. Yes, because so many people just don't understand. Yeah. Trump couldn't even manage successful vaccine rollout. I will never forget the nurses using garbage bags for PPE. Yeah. And think about how many congressmen and women filed for loans, right, during COVID for their private businesses and then got that forgiven. And nobody talks about it, right? They just complain when student loans are forgiven after 10, 15 years paying it out, where you already paid out your initial loan and you're stuck with the damn interest. People just don't understand the basics. But I found a very cute video of, well, the video is like, it's on social media. Look, Kamala Harris is signing a thing for a little girl. But let's look for something else. I talked about weak man and the entire dictatorship, right, being based. That's a segment that attracts a weak man, right? I will take something by force. I will create a system where people can't do anything. I will be artificially strong. But what, in my opinion, and correct me if I'm wrong, what really shows when a man is confident, when he is strong, right, and strong-willed, I think it shows in the way he treats a woman and how he can be of help without putting himself first. Remember Trump at NATO, pushing everybody, walking forward like, what's up? That has nothing to do with strength. It has everything to do with insecurity. But a secure man puts women on pedestal. Take a look what Tim Walz does during their just normal interaction after a rally. Pay attention. So see, like, he ran to take that paper or whatever that was and to let Kamala Harris sign it. He didn't try to sign it himself, even though he's VP, he's on that ticket. He didn't volunteer to take pictures. He was there helping her. That tells me more than any speech or anything can tell me, about his character. Trump should have gone to jail for that alone, mass murder. I've seen this video so many times and I love it so much. Tim is a true partner. Yes. Yeah, he's the best choice. And that's, that's to your point, exactly. I'm thinking Shapiro would be different in that situation. Callie would be different. Pete probably same, So let's talk about MAGA real quick. Aside from the main characters in MAGAville, there is a character, Royce White, a Republican nominee to U.S. Senate in Minnesota. So he won his nomination. So there's a video of him talking that about women being too mouthy. And then I will tell you why, or I'll show you why he thinks that way. He is a former, I think, NBA player, certainly D level, but I think NBA, he was there. And then he said that he's afraid of flying. And that's how he got out of NBA. But listen to him just explaining his notion. Then we talk about why he thinks that way.
Continue on to say cultural issues as a code word for rube, white, rural, Christian, heterosexual, male, nationalist, that are just focused on their wives being too mouthy, sir.
Yeah. Well, look, let's just be frank. Women have become too mouthy. As the black men in the room, I'll say that. I don't know whether we're talking white men or Asian men or black men or so on and so forth, but no, I mean, I'm serious. I mean, there was the thing that is scary about it, and then I say this, and people will go, "Oh,
hold it." Can I officially say that Joy Reid's Black Girl Magic does not work with Royce White? Can we just? I just want to make sure. Don't take it from me. I just want Royce to say it.
You know you're gonna send me off. You go to Joyanne Reid, and if she's wearing a white woman's wigs, you're gonna piss me off this afternoon. I'm having a beautiful day without thinking about that scam, but.
This individual has 4 children and doesn't pay child support to his baby mamas. He endorsed GOP's endorsed Senate candidate has faced court actions over unpaid child support. He owes over $100,000 for the kids that are his. So maybe that's why these women or one woman are mouthy. And Lisa, you called it. I saw your comment. And then he talks about black girl magic, white girl wig. What are you talking about? Nobody pays attention to you. No, you're not LeBron James. You're by far, you're nobody. Well, sleep with men like that is disgusting. Oh, tell me. He just hates women. Yeah, I think he hates himself. I think these people who are so hateful, they're very insecure. They hate their lifestyle. They hate their life. Certainly, you can't pay enough child support. Does it make you feel like a good dad? No, right? Anybody can be a father. Not many can be a dad. That is there's truth to it. Okay. So then Bill O'Reilly says that a very emotional Trump is hurting his campaign with the lack of discipline. Never thought I would be agreeing with Bill O'Reilly, but take a look at this video. Certainly we're on the same page, I guess.
I think that the former president lacks discipline still in messaging. You know, when you are running for an office and you know the deck is stacked against you, where the media, as you just pointed out, is not going to report anything honestly at all. Nothing. And the Democratic Party has got a constituency that hates you, and that will drive a vote out. Doesn't matter what the issues are. Then you have to basically figure out, if I want to win, I have to do this. So to me, this would be the economy above all. You're spending so much money on the essentials of life, and it's because of Biden-Harris. And they can't refute that. The numbers are the numbers. And then the border. I mean, I think Kamala Harris is looking foolish by saying, oh, I'm a tough border queen now. All Trump's got to do is rerun the Lester Holt interview on NBC. And Holt said, hey, how come you haven't been to the border? She says, I have been to the border. Holt goes, no, you haven't. And then she goes, I haven't been to Europe either.
He's still alive. Yeah, well, so much to that. But in terms of lack of discipline, I think we can agree. My question is only, the dude is what, 78? Are you waiting for him to learn the discipline? Are you still like homeschooling him? What's happening? Is that the best thing your party could come up with? And if God forbid anything, you're cool with JD Vance taking over the reins and just like, fulfilling his duty in a dutiful way, if anything, right? Because that would be the next guy. Concerning, certainly concerning. But remember, Trump stated that the crowds at Harris Wall's campaigns are AI generated. So today he was asked that question. I guess it's the toughest question he's been asked for a while. So check out his answer.
And you said Harris's crowd sizes were AI and that there weren't people there. There's all kinds of video evidence and people who were there who have proven that false. Can you tell us about why you made that claim?
Well, I can't say what was there, who was there. I can only tell you about ours. We have the biggest crowds ever in the history of politics. We have crowds that nobody's ever seen before, and we continue to have that. We have a level of enthusiasm that nobody's seen before. They want to make America great again. That's what's happening. We're going to make it great again. Right now, we have a failing nation. We're in a failing nation and become in many ways a third world nation, and we're not going to let that happen. Thank you very much.
To the crowds that nobody sees ever, he's right. We never see those crowds. That's the crowds like you've never seen. We've never seen them. That's true. Because look at this. So JD Vance, right? Okay, this was a couple of hours before his appearance today. And then a few hours later, clouds showed up. Still empty chairs, but this time we have clouds. So I guess they didn't need those umbrellas and whatnot. Also, as to Trump in Asheville, I graduated in North Carolina. Greetings. Love it. Asheville is actually very liberal, so that's his crowd in Asheville. And I asked you on Twitter, is that a rally? And somebody said, oh, somebody's wearing an overall, so it is a rally. It looks like a theater, like a big theater. And then somebody, like, I don't have those pictures, but some reporters who are covering Trump, they took, like you can take the fish lands where you take a picture and you zoom out so far so it looks like a stadium. And they took a picture of the same, this little theater or whatever that is. And they said, oh, look at the crowds. Well, maybe he does need the AI generated crowds. I'm just saying. Maybe you're like Putin, because you say, you provoked me, you touched me. And then he's actually provoking everybody and he's, grabbing land and invading, right? So maybe he voiced the AI solution because they are thinking about an AI solution, and certainly that would be needed. But let's talk about JD Vance real quick. I have 3 clips for you from his appearance. Honestly, just the whole setup, it really made those 4 Seasons, right, with the dildos around, where Giuliani was standing in front of, made that look like a resort. Here he was in a parking lot with just cars behind him. So take a look. First, he talked about how Democrats are inviting illegals so they can vote for them. And mind you, only American citizens can vote in federal elections. So with that in mind, take a look.
Aliens. It made our communities less safe, but it did give the Democrats a lot of voters. And they're trying to give illegal aliens the right to vote in major cities all across this country.
Garbage. Just garbage. Makes no sense. It's not true. I don't even know how to fact check it because federal elections require you to be citizen to vote. Period. End of story. Then he talked about Kamala's fault that we can't have a good dinner on Fridays. So if you haven't had a good dinner on Friday, now you know whom to blame. Take a look.
Can't afford a nice meal. Too many children have been killed by fentanyl. Too many grandparents are raising kids they didn't plan for. And too many families can't afford a special meal on a Friday night. Now the media, our friends in the back, they make a lot of new noise, make a lot of news about the new tone of Kamala Harris's campaign. Have you seen this? They say Kamala Harris, you can tell she's excited. But I'll tell you what she's excited about. She's excited that she just got a promotion without earning a single American vote.
No single vote, right? Because we voted for a nominee and it came with the VP, but somehow she was not voted on. Please give me a break. It's state by state, felons can't vote in some places. Certainly, also like on a state level or local level, even illegal immigrants or immigrants who are not citizens yet can vote for, let's say, a school district and like tiny elections that concern the families that live in that specific spot. So that does exist, but we're talking about federal elections. So but in terms of Asheville, Rosie Marie says it's Thomas Wolfe Auditorium, and it generally puts local plays and bands. Yes. I lived in Asheville for a bit. Yeah. Okay. So next, he talked about, he was asked by a CBS guy to comment on the UAW's federal charges, federal lawsuit or charges that were filed against Donald Trump and Elon Musk after whatever that was on X or Twitter, where Trump said literally, you can just tell people you're fired in case they decide to protest or build a union or unionize, right? And Tesla is totally against it. So he's like, I'm not going to name the company, but this is so great. You can just fire them all the time. And so UAW filed a lawsuit. Here's a bunch of nothing from JD Vance.
When talking about how Elon Musk fired folks looking to organize, The Teamster president, who also spoke at the RNC, called this economic terrorism. What's your reaction to the backlash that Donald Trump's getting from that interview?
Well, look, I like the Teamsters president. I think he's a good guy, but I think he's wrong about this because Donald Trump was not talking about firing Michigan auto workers. He was talking about firing the employees of Twitter who use their power to censor American citizens. Those people ought to be fired. If you censor Americans from exercising their First Amendment rights, you absolutely should be fired. Donald Trump's exactly right. Now, what Donald Trump has also done more than any president in my lifetime, 60,000 factories closed in the 16 years before Trump became president. In just the 4 years that he was president, he reversed that trend and opened 12,000 factories. This is a guy who's fighting for American jobs. And my message to Sean Fain, who's the head of the UAW and stands up next to Kamala Harris and sounds like a communist, is, trust me, I talk to a lot of UAW workers. They want a president who fights for their jobs. They want a president who will shut down this garbage at the border. They want a president who will stop sending American money to buy Chinese-made cars. American money ought to buy American cars. And UAW workers and non-union workers, we all believe in that message. That's why Donald J. Trump's going to win Michigan, and he's going to win the whole industrial Midwest.
Tarot reader here. Can you imagine him taking over the reins if Trump is elected and then he, for some reason, there's the 25th Amendment and then this guy runs the country? Oh, God. So, Asheville. Trump rally. Trump theater, intimate gathering in the theater. Let's not call it a rally because it's insulting to our intelligence, okay? So in that intimate gathering before that, there was a gentleman who shared his opinion, why he's there. He said, I love Trump to death, but I don't support this campaign. Take a look.
I love Trump. I love him to death, but I'm not a real big fan of his campaign. I'm not a real big fan of Chris LaCivita, Susie Wiles, and even J.D. Vance, who is a never Trumper. So it begs the question, why are we even here?
Why are we even here? I think some were paid. That is one explanation. Others maybe wanted to go to theater and thought this would be entertaining. And by the way, this was more performative than informative. So if you like this type of if you like this type of entertainment, maybe you were entertained. But he just was talking about fear-mongering stories. You got scared. Maybe you like spooky stuff. You like the Halloween. You're like, I miss Halloween. Halloween, this is August, let me just go get spooked out. Maybe that's what ticks you off. Cool. But was nothing more than that. So first he screamed, Kamala, you fired. Take a look.
Kamala, you're fired. Get out of here. Go. Get out of here. Right?
I said shitty entertainment, but it is. Listen, it's my opinion here. I'm not saying this is a fact. It's my opinion. Barron is now in charge of Gen Z. Did you see that report of a gentleman who has been worked with nannies or was a nanny, Barron's nanny in New York? And he posted pictures with Barron and his friends, and then he described how Barron slapped the hack out of the nanny, and then the nanny was fired the same day, and it was somebody new the next day, and how he was in 5th grade or something at that point, and so he shared it with a bunch of pictures, and so proving his point, and said that was a character. He was a character from the beginning. So I don't know. Listen, I don't think that somebody who's 18 should be stepping into now race, politics, whatnot. But if they do, certainly then others will comment, which is not uncommon because that's why you're doing it, because you want to influence. And somebody will be influenced and somebody will not be influenced, and everybody will be talking because that's the day and age we live in. So then he started, we're talking about Trump. He started asking about net zero policy. and which only showed that he absolutely doesn't understand what it refers to. Take a look.
Under Kamala's extreme high-cost energy policy known as net zero, you know what net zero, they have no idea what it means, by the way. It's net zero. What does that mean? Nobody knows. Ask her what it means. We're going to go to a net zero policy. What does that mean? I have no idea.
Okay, well, probably he's asking what a net zero thing is. So here's a readout in case you were wondering. A net zero policy aims to achieve a balance between the amount of greenhouse gas produced and the amount removed from the atmosphere. This can be achieved by reducing emissions and removing emissions. For example, an economy can achieve net zero emissions by either emitting the no greenhouse gas or offsetting its emissions, obviously. Offsetting emissions can be done through actions like planting trees or using technologies that capture carbon before it's released into the air. Hence, electric cars, So, but then Trump declared that it's very interesting. He said that he did not complain that people are taking advantage of our country, but he said if you want to take advantage of our country, you got to pay up first. Take a listen.
People want to take advantage of our country, they have to pay to take advantage of our country.
Replace yourself with the country. If you want to take advantage of me, you have to pay first. Are we prostitutes? I don't know. Weird. And then he said that we're living in a third world country.
Subjects, because our country has become a third world nation. We literally are a third world nation. We're a banana republic in so many ways.
Oh, first of all, Banana Republic is a good store. I don't know what he's referring to. We ain't Banana Republic. Google it. Is that what you could retain? Is that supposed to be funny? Is that supposed to be advantageous for those who showed up in Nashville? But cue in Joe Rogan, who now suddenly has all advice in the world for Donald Trump and his rallies or intimate gatherings, which I think we will be expecting from now on since it's crappy. Take a listen.
Crushed it.
Yeah.
That's a problem. That's a problem. And I don't think they thought she was going to be able to do that. That's the thing.
Yeah.
You can fucking coach somebody, bro. It ain't hard. I mean, maybe she just practiced.
Who are these coaches? Just public speakers and stuff?
Oh, yeah, public speaking coaches. Yeah, there's political speech analysts. There's people that
Imagine if there's
teach
comedians.
people how
What
to
if David
teach.
Lucas gets hired to give her like some one-liners?
Listen.
I mean, there's a crazy world where there's shit like that, where there's somebody goes, you need a couple zingers in your back pocket. I don't know.
100%.
Because if that's not your world and your brain doesn't operate like that, Trump's does. Trump is looking at like, to make a little put down or he's just quick in that way.
Listen,
so
he is quick in that way. Also, it would behoove him to hire a few great comics to just tour with him and just write one-liners about all these different fucking people.
I mean,
if he could remember them, I mean, I know he likes to go off his own head, but
Sure.
if he could remember a few Hinchcliffe bangers, if he hires Hinchcliffe to take him on the road.
Spooky entertainment tonight. Woo! Now, Joe Rogan obviously complains about Kamala Harris nailing every single rally. I'm very happy that he saw them online because mainstream media was not covering them. So kudos to Joe Rogan. Remember, he endorsed RFK Jr. and he's warm. So RFK Jr. and the Junior Worm showed up on Fox News today and said that if he were to attend a debate on Fox News, he would be winning the election. See it to hear it.
Are you in this to the end? Are you in this till Election Day?
Yes.
Okay. Next time we have you back,
And
I want to ask you about...
if Fox News lets me on the stage for the debate, I will win the election.
If Fox News lets you on they like every media group, you
On
have to
the
show
stage
a
for the
certain
debate.
I don't know. I don't make up the rules, but there are rules. You have to show X amount of percentage of.
Well, they're making up rules. They're making up rules. If we had the presidential debating
I'm
committee,
letting you on the
I
show.
would be on the stage.
No, it's not how it works. If nobody wants to vote for you, you are wasting time of others. Now, not wasting time is Tim Walz. He already agreed to debate the couch-loving JD on October 1st in New York City on CBS. I cannot wait. I am in New York City. Let's freaking do it. JD has not agreed yet. I saw a video before I just went live. Let me know if he already agreed. But he said, oh, they just proposed it 3 hours ago. We have to think about it. We have to discuss the details. Well, I hope he discusses the details, and I hope to see them at CBS on 59th Street. Okay, let's talk about the Middle East real quick. I have a video and a photo for you. So what I want us to focus on tomorrow, because a lot will be happening to distract us. And here's why. Because if there is a peace deal when it comes to Middle East, right, between Israel and Hamas, whose achievement is it? President Biden. Yes, Egypt, Qatar, everybody who's involved, European leaders, certainly, but it's President Biden's achievement. So for that reason, that press conference lying around in the Bedminster, New Jersey's planned, that's why a bunch of this shit show will be published to divert your attention in case the meeting is happening and the meeting goes successful, so you're not paying enough attention to that. But that is the main meeting tomorrow, main news, because Iran already said, and President Biden said that Iran is watching and they can strike Israel at any point, but they're watching what will be happening during those peace talks and as to will they retaliate or no. So it all depends on it. Tomorrow is a very important day for that reason. And by the way, I'm on Threads now too, so if you don't like Twitter or X, just follow Honest Press. And I said reality check, tomorrow's significant events, potential peace talks at Doha between Israel and Hamas, which will influence the near future of Middle East, not someone's unchecked press conference at a private golf club. Okay? Also, he's planning rallies, as you saw. I went on his website since I didn't get that email, so snap the picture. Today is Asheville. Saturday is Pennsylvania. And and then JD was today in Michigan. Sunday, VP Harris and Governor Walz will be on the bus cruising across Pennsylvania. So that is something to look out for and to be excited about. Again, some of you, and I've heard and read that Hamas is not showing up to the meeting tomorrow. Now, this was confirmed by Karine Jean-Pierre today in the briefing that this is political posturing that I was referring to. Take a look.
An attack by Iran and or its proxies could unfold perhaps in the coming days. Since then, has the assessment changed at all?
I would say the assessment has not changed. What my colleague said, what the Admiral said, still stands. But look, and I've said this many times before, he has said this, NSC has said this, we are working pretty diligently on the diplomatic efforts here. You heard me talk about my colleagues who will be in the region, right, to continue to have those diplomatic conversations. And this is why tomorrow we believe is important. We believe getting to a ceasefire deal, ending this war, will lead to bringing down the tensions in the Middle East, and diplomacy is critical. Diplomacy is important. This is something that the president, as you know, when it comes to foreign policy, believes at his core. And it is not for me to speak to what Iran and its proxies are going to do. I can't speak to that. And I don't have anything to say beyond what the Admiral shared with us.
I just saw your comments for the October 1st debate or whatever that will be. If I'm covering in person, I'll be there, but I will organize a Zoom thing so we all can watch together, and then somebody will be the captain and will track the logins. If I'm in person covering, so I will tune in and report to you live and from that location, and you guys watch it all together. So I'll organize it, and if I'm not covering it, like for instance, CNN debate, they didn't let media cover it. So if they will not decide to let media cover it, then we all together watch it. Okay, but you guys watch together at any point, so we'll do it. Yay! 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 Okay, awesome, cool. Certainly would love to be there because then you see more, than anything. I want to tap on the mic and see like tap, tap, tap. Is the sound working? Is the sound working? Or are we doing the same creepy show that was at CNN? By the way, CNN was selling spots for people to cover it if they wanted to cover, and it was like at least 4 or 5 numbers. Yeah, they wanted, and then people didn't want to pay for it. As much as I would want you to do it, I want you at the debate for sure. Yeah, so we can do both. We can do both. Anything works. Where is a will, there is a way. Okay, Iran. FBI today reported that U.S. charges U.S. Iranian national for illegal export of military aircraft components to Iran. The Justice Department has indicted Jeffrey Chance Nader, a U.S. Iranian national, for illegally exporting U.S.-made aircraft components to Iran, including parts for military aircraft. Nader, arrested in California, is accused of violating U.S. economic sanctions by coordinating the purchase and attempted export of these components from the U.S. to Iran via the UAE. Authorities intercepted the items before they could be shipped. This case, led by Disruptive Technology Strike Force, underscores the U.S. commitment to preventing hostile regimes from acquiring sensitive technology. The investigation involves the FBI, the Commerce Department's Bureau of Industry and Security. So, again, all of this is connected, right? Why Iran needs that? So they can send it to Russia, so Russia can strike Ukraine. So all of it is one big mechanism. Now, in Ukraine, Forbes has reported, and I have a readout as well. So Ukrainian jets have joined the invasion of Russia's Kursk Oblast, which is a region, and blow up a Russian command post. So today they blew up a Su-32 or 35, 32, I think. Very important, target and for Ukrainians, and very important asset for Russians. It's noted that the Ukrainian Su-27 fighter jet attacked the command post of the Russians in the village of Tutkine, a few kilometers north of the front line. It is interesting, though, that the attack was carried out by a Soviet fighter, right, the jet, and not by F-16s, which Ukraine recently received. So they do not use American weapons or American F-16s to conduct those operations. That was also asked at the press briefing at the White House, and Karine said that they don't have any indication that Ukrainians are using American weapons to conduct those strikes. Now, a bit from Zelensky's bureau or whatnot, right? Because he doesn't talk to media, he speaks to people right away and issues statements. So one of those is President of Ukraine Zelensky held a meeting on the situation in the Kursk region. The meeting was attended by Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, Prime Minister, Deputy Prime Minister, and Minister for Reintegration of Temporary Occupied Territories of Ukraine, and the Minister of Internal Affairs. Okay, the Minister of Internal Affairs reported on the humanitarian aspects of the assistance to the Ukrainian Defense Forces and the provision of security in the border communities of our country, Ukraine, as well as in the relevant districts of the Kursk region. The Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Ukraine announced that in case of need, military commandants' offices will be established in the Kursk region. So, which then means, and that's where I'm confused. So Ukraine does the incursion into Russia. I understand you occupy land, you have to control it, right? You don't let civilians control it. So you do control it. Civilians, by the way, are greeting Ukrainian forces with Ukrainian songs and flowers and food. So nobody's suffering. It's not a Bucha thing. It's not Mariupol, in Ukraine, how Russians just killed people and created concentration camps. That's not the case. But now they will be opening centers to control the region, which again, if you refer to President Biden's comment that it creates a dilemma, it does. Because now Russia occupies areas in Ukraine, and yes, they can end the war today by just withdrawing, then everything would be done, and Ukrainians would certainly leave the Russian territory. But then if Ukraine is establishing a mini government or offices, right, whatever you call it, in the Russian region, now you can't blame the Russians did it and it was illegal because you're doing the same thing. So that creates a dilemma, certainly. Zelensky emphasized that Ukraine is exercising its right to self-defense and in defending the lives of people in the border communities of the country, is taking active steps on Russian territory, but the Ukrainian Defense Forces strictly adhere to the requirements of the international conventions and international humanitarian law. So, again, this is all near border regions, again, with the idea to control them so they can strike right across the border in cities like Kharkiv, in cities where it cannot be protected by shooting down those missiles because there's not enough time to conduct that operation. So, does make sense. Certainly does make sense. Now let's see how it will play out and what the negotiations will be, right? Now, funny. Russia will provide as much brotherly aid as possible to North Korea. So North Korea, right, since the to Russia, since the drones, right, whatever they can send, so Russia can invade Ukraine further. But they're facing hunger, and now Russia is giving the best. Russia sends 447 goats to North Korea after Kim Jong-un sucks up to Putin. Moscow and Pyongyang have wide-ranging deal covering sectors, including education, agriculture, and tourism. So also, by the way, and this is Politico. Politico will know what Russia does because Politico is very Russian. So goats. And that's not Michael Jordan or LeBron James, right? That's the debate. The real goats. I guess they will be multiplying fast. I don't know. They eat all of them. Anywho, Germany. Russians are also in Germany. Not the goats, but the bad people. So here's today from Germany. Germany suspects Russian hand in sabotage at military bases. Drinking supply apparently targeted at 2 separate facilities. Senior lawmaker warns of Russia stepping up hybrid warfare. So, in a troubling development, 2 military bases in Germany have been put under lockdown following a suspected sabotage operation. Investigators believe that the water supplies at the German army base in Cologne-Wann and the NATO base in Geilenkirchen have been contaminated with signs of poisoning reported. The targeted facilities were both involved in critical defense operations, and the apparent sabotage of their drinking water supplies has raised significant concerns. German authorities are now investigating the incident with a focus on potential Russian involvement. So, they're everywhere. Speaking of everywhere, Venezuela. Certainly, so for now, based on tallies, based on all the results, election results, Maduro has lost, right? Gonzalez has won. Blinken has called Maduro, has congratulated him, has called upon Venezuela to now either, Colombia asked them to redo the election, right, and let the international community monitor it, but certainly let people have a leader that they elected. Now, Vatican sends their new nuncio, which is ambassador, to Venezuela, who has recently presented his credentials to Nicolas Maduro, thereby legitimizing his rule. So take a look at the video. I have a video of all of this going down. So while the entire international community says Maduro has to go, only people who have endorsed him and approved him as a self-proclaimed, allegedly elected leader are China, North Korea, Russia, right? And Russia, by the way, I explained it to you, they were sending Wagner groups, they were sending criminals to help Maduro stay in power since 2019, and for that they got the gold reserve from Venezuela transported to Moscow. So, take a look. This is Vatican now recognizing Maduro as a leader.
Apostólico designado por la Santa Sede ante el gobierno de la República Bolivariana de Venezuela.
A esta hora, el presidente constitucional Nicolás Maduro Moros lidera esta agenda de trabajo que compartimos con todo el pueblo de Venezuela para recibir en el Salón Sol del Perú, en el Palacio de Miraflores, con la más cordial bienvenida al nuncio apostólico ante la República Bolivariana de Venezuela.
Interesting, right? You would think Vatican. Dan, let's now we go to Afghanistan. Remember how Trump signed the deal to withdraw forces very fast without either eliminating or taking out the equipment out of Afghanistan? This was not Biden, this was Trump. Biden inherited this shit show and had to follow up, right? Let's just be straight here. So today in Afghanistan, in Kabul, Taliban held a major military parade at Bagram. Bagram is the former U.S. military base, to celebrate 3 years of their third anniversary of Kabul takeover. Take a look. That's their leader. That's their parade. And by the way, Chinese and Iranian diplomats attended the ceremony, which featured demonstrations of military equipment left by the U.S. Army. That is what Trump left them. American helicopters, cars, you see it all go down. So, and now, Leslie, let's talk about a few viral clips, and we're going to end on a good note. One clip is 3 minutes and some, but I really want you to watch it. This is a Gen Z, not influencer, but I think speaker from Georgia, who talked about education and who talked about what's at stake now during this election and moving forward. Let's just look at it, because honestly, I admire this new generation and it just gives me hope, if anything. Take a look.
Hey, y'all. Thank you all for being here today. The press for being able to amplify this important issue, and so making sure that people all across our state know what is going on and what the superintendent is doing. I want to take a moment. Can we give a round of applause to all of the educators, students, and legislators that serve as allies to education? Because there are a lot of people in Georgia that are not allies to education. Thank y'all. Thank you all. I'm so glad to stand with you here today. My name is Parker Short. I'm the chairman of the Young Democrats of Georgia. I'm a graduate of DeKalb County Public Schools, and I recently got my degree in public policy from the University of Michigan. Don't blame me. I'm sorry. You know, hey, maybe if we funded our education a little bit better and invested in the Hope Scholarship, we would allow for more students to go and get an education without debt. So I'm going to tell you a little story about my school. I went to Dunwoody High School. I think y'all might know it. It's a little suburban town right outside the perimeter. And, you know, I like where I grew up, but I can't say I'm proud of Dunwoody. And I'm going to tell you something. My teacher from high school, Angela Peekinen, Miss Peekinen, had 100 students sign up to take AP African American History with her this year. And as we said, we're about to start. And I know my teacher has been spending all summer, my teacher from years and years ago, who's still there, spending all summer preparing her lessons plans, looking at books, reviewing the College Board materials, as the educators here have been. And I know all of those students have been excited about the coursework, excited about the opportunity to learn. But that is not a reality, because the superintendent doesn't believe that that is worth funding. And now let me tell you why it is worth funding, because I'm going to tell you something about Dunwoody that nobody will ever tell you. They're not going to teach you this in the Dunwoody history class or AP US history, any history. Dunwoody is named after Confederate Major Charles Archibald III. That is a history that we should understand. And every time I say the name of the city I'm from, the high school that I went to, I have to sit with the weight that we are a white flight city, and apparently still living those values because we're unwilling to educate our students, not just in DeKalb, but statewide. And as I will say, as many speakers have said, this is an elected position. And he is up in 2 years. I hope he will listen to us, but you know, a lot of the high schoolers here, they can register at 17 and a half. You know?
Certainly, very cool guy. Gives me hope when it comes to the next generation, and they do understand what's at stake. You know, for me, my European mind could never understand how we're not learning history here unless you elect, like you really make a choice to learn history. For a European, this is like, what? So, you know, and then what kind of history you're learning? Really interesting. This got reversed, thankfully. What were we talking about? Oh, yeah, about the education. Yeah. I said earlier off Evangelicals for Harris Zoom, it was really good stuff. Yes, I saw some ads. Yes. And you just mentioned that Gina Rowlands, the Notebook star, unfortunately passed away at 94. It was just announced the cause of death is flu. And recently it was said that she certainly played Allie in Notebook and was awarded, you know, Emmy winner and awards, Academy Award nominee at least, and a lot in a lot of movies. But it was recently announced that she had Alzheimer's, right, or the early signs of Alzheimer's, and they talked about Allie and how she played the Allie in the older version of Allie in Notebook. My favorite book. Let's all watch Notebook tonight and cry. May she rest in peace. It's really best people are leaving. What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? Okay. Lastly, or pre-last. Okay, so check this out. Paris, Chinese people, ultra nationalists, right? Not just we talk about Chinese or Asian people. We love Chinese and Asian people. This is ultra nationalists who traveled to Paris, took a flag, and demanded that flag to go up on this hotel. Take a look. It's interesting. It's really, really weird. Take a look.
The China. Yes, I know, but sir, as I said, this is not my job. Yeah. So I can decorate. You can't decide for any decoration of the hotel. So you can't decide for any decoration of the hotel. So the
but this is my
yes, I know.
But this is my mother name. You know my
yes,
name. Who have the power to?
So this is this is the management, sir.
So yeah, you can call
this time. Yes, this is Sunday today. This is.
不是，他的意思是他说周末他不打电话，不给挂呗，意思吗？ Sorry, I won't check out. Okay.
This is a booking reservation. So if you yes, I can't cancel it. You have to cancel it.
不退款，如果取消，按照原价支付。他还不退钱吗？对，他说他不能退。
Yeah, you have to cancel it one day before. If you check out now.
So anyway, the hotel did not let them do this. Certainly, that was during the Olympics. And now the Evergreen Laurel Hotel is being mass downvoted on social media by the CCP supporters. That's the power of social media. Here's a very short clip. It's just 2 seconds. It's how the Kamala Harris with Doug Emhoff and the Waltzes tried. You know how they say their slogan, if we fight, we win? There's a very tiny part of that, but it gives you all the good feelings before we go. Take a look. Win! And you see Hope there too, the daughter. So lastly, Monday is very coming sooner than later, the 19th. That will be the opening night of the DNC, where we together will watch President Biden. And so this will be off air, so we're not going to stream it. It's for us. We're going to meet on Google Meet, or I'll figure out the best platform. We're going to watch together his speech. We're going to meet about an hour before that. Bring a drink, bring a friend, do whatnot. We virtually just conversate. We talk to each other. We share, any stories, anything about our president and the family, and just to honor him and have good time watching it together with like-minded people. So there's a sign-up thing in the every little email that you have received for the past 2 weeks. including tonight's email. Tap on it and just RSVP. So we'll send you the link, and I will not bother everybody with the same link. Here's a cute picture I found of both of them. Look, through the years and still the same. So if you want to spend some time together on Monday night watching it, please do. Also, we're going to talk at the town hall how we want to watch, if you guys want to watch together, the Kamala Harris big speech on Thursday. So we'll meet on Friday at 7 p.m. at the town hall. In tonight's email, by the way, if you can, please subscribe. If you haven't yet, onest.substack.com, it's free. You get your actual news into your mailbox. And so there, right on top, will be the link to tap. And you don't need to register. You don't need to put your email. You don't have to have a Gmail account, nothing. Just tap and window will open, and that will be our Google Meet for Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern. Before our usual live stream, we're going to talk about some plans and have our town hall. Okay? So, and if you have subscribed to Substack, I'm very grateful for you. If you decided to support, I'm very, very grateful. Thank you so much. I really, there are not enough words to just express my gratitude, how you make my life more important and what I do worth it. So I'm really appreciative. So thank you so much. You subscribed to Brendan. Thank you. Thank you. What's happening with the August 15th event? Is it public? August 15th is what? Today is 14, 15. 15 is tomorrow. Nothing is tomorrow. Friday is the 16th. That's not public. That's just our town hall, and we don't stream it. By the way, tomorrow we'll be live at 9 p.m. I have meetings before that, and I don't want to push it back and forth. So 9 p.m. we're meeting tomorrow. And then Friday, 7 is our personal town hall. And after that, I go live and deliver the news like we always do. Does the email today have Friday's town hall info? Yes. Yes. And you're going to get the same info also on Thursday, same info on Friday. And then before we're tuning at 7 p.m. for the town hall, an hour before, you also get a reminder with the link. Just making sure you have all the information. Harris is having a rally on in Rally Friday. I'm going to it and don't need place. You don't know the place or time yet. Okay. But we'll let you know if you're interested to kind of be kept in the loop. I can email you. I will not be recording our town hall. And I will ask everybody also not to record, because we just have some good time together and just share some news. Okay? All right. Did I answer everything? Biden, Kamala, Maryland. Thank you. I will try to cover the rallies on Sunday. The Pennsylvania travel tour. Let's see if that works. I don't know how they structure it. So I will update you at the town hall about that too. Awesome. Thanks again. 4 a.m. here. Don't plan to be. Oh my God. I'm so sorry. Oh, please go to bed. Okay. Rush. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for supporting. Thank you for following, sharing. And I see you tomorrow, 9 p.m. And tonight you're going to get your email. Okay? Have a good night.